All right. I think I see folks trickling in. And so there you go. Hi, and welcome to the next Plantae webinar in our series. My name is Jason Padilla, and I'm your technical host for today's webinar. Next slide. Next slide, please. This webinar is brought to you today by Plantae, the open online community for plant scientists powered by the American Society of Plant Biologists. I would like to give a special thank you to all members of the society who are attending today. Your ASPB membership dues help make support this webinar possible. For any of you who have not yet joined ASPB, you can join today and use the discount code %10 to receive 10% on your registration. ASPB members get early access to this webinar, and you can learn more about ASPB and the opportunities we provide at aspb.org. Next slide, please. We have recorded so many webinars, and this webinar is available to you via our YouTube channel. And so if you're looking for additional webinars, you can watch them on our YouTube channel. So be sure to follow us on YouTube. Next slide. Before we get started, I'd like to go over a few housekeeping items to make sure that you get the most out of your attendance today. If you're experiencing technical difficulties, please let us know about those using the chat box, or you can email me directly at jpadilla@aspb.org. If you have questions for our guest speakers, please add them to the Zoom Q&A section, and our moderators will be sharing them with our presenters. If you have trouble connecting or need to leave the webinar early, as I mentioned, this webinar is recorded and will be made available on our YouTube channel. And so be sure to follow us. And so without further ado, I'd like to call on our moderators who will facilitate this webinar today. So take it away, everyone. On to you, moderators.
Hello and welcome to our webinar today. And today's webinar is going to be about how to get the most out of your PhD. And today we'll be having 4 distinguished speakers, reputable mentors, and of course, passionate scientists from various fields in the plant science field. And today they'll be sharing their insights and thoughts about what you can do to get the most out of your PhD. Next slide. So today's webinar would take this form. We'll have the moderator's introduction first. This will be shortly followed by the speaker introductions, and afterward there will be Q&A sessions where we will pick questions that you've dropped in the chat box during the course of the talks, and of course try to answer them live and give you more insights from the areas that you may have concerns regarding. And afterwards we'll have the concluding remarks and definitely keep it close to the excellent webinar we're looking forward to. Next slide. As for the moderator, we have firstly Tuyeli Das. Tuyeli Das is a PhD student in plant sciences from the Presidency University, Kolkata, India. She is a final year PhD student in the Department of Life Sciences at the Presidency University, Kolkata, India, and a 2024 Plantae Fellow. Her research focuses on plant secondary metabolites and medicinal plants, and she aims to bridge traditional medicinal plant knowledge with modern scientific research. She's a passionate nature enthusiast, and she enjoys traveling and trekking. Her long-term goal is to discover new therapeutic compounds from plants using advanced tools and techniques. You'll be seeing Tuyeli Das as we go through the webinar today. And personally, myself, next slide. I am Abdul Kabir Omeiz Abdul Malik, and I'm a graduate student at the CEPLAS Cluster of Excellence on Plant Sciences Graduate School, Germany. I'm a 2024 Plantae editor and a fellow, and my research focuses on using experimental evolution approach to assemble plant growth promoting soil microbiomes. I'm very passionate about science communication, of course, that's why I'm here today, and sustainable crop production. In my free time, I love playing soccer and enjoying nature views. Next slide. And lastly, our wonderful moderator, we have Manish Lingwan, who is a postdoctoral associate at the Donald Danforth Plant Science Center. He is a postdoctoral associate there and also a 2024 Plantae Fellow. But impressively, he's also an assistant features editor of the Plant Physiology Society. So he is a passionate plant biochemist interested in analytical techniques and strategies to decode cell-specific metabolism. His research focuses on understanding plant lipid metabolism to enhance medium-chain fatty acids in oil crops. Besides research, Manish aims to inspire and educate younger students by providing valuable insights about STEM careers and helping them to navigate opportunities. We welcome you once again and now hand over to Manish to take it on from here. Anish?
Thank you, Abdul. So we have a first speaker, Professor Manoj. Professor Manoj is working as a JC Bose Fellow and Professor in University of Delhi South Campus, New Delhi in India. And he have done his bachelor's, master's, and PhD in botany from University of Calcutta in 1992, 1994, and 1999 respectively. And then currently, prior working in University of Delhi and DBT and IPGR in New Delhi, Dr. Prasad served as a Humboldt Fellow at the Lisbon Institute of Plant Genetics and Crop Plant Research, Germany, and his research interest includes plant molecular genetics, genomics, and stress biology. Professor Prasad has published more than 200 research papers. He reviewed many articles in international journals, and he has cited almost more than 15,400 plus times, and his H index is of 69. He also served as associate editor in many renowned international journals, and he is a recipient of very prestigious national and international awards. Like some of them is like Fellow of National Academies, Silver Jubilee, Commemoration Medal Award, JC Bose Fellow, National Fellow, Tata Innovation Fellow, National Biosciences Award, Birbal Sahani Medal, and Golden Peacock Awards, and many more, and Young Scientist Award. Our next speaker is Justin. Justin is the CEO of Thea Technology. She is dedicated to empower research and businesses through integration of new AI tools for automating image and video analysis. Her academic journey have reflect on a diverse background. She holds bachelor's and master's degree in synthetic biology from France, and then she have done his PhD from Saudi Arabia at cost. During her PhD, she developed her interest on AI and computer vision technology, where she automated many things for seed counting tools, and some of them is like managing image analysis. Currently, she is leading her team at Thea Technology, and she wants to bridge the gap between cutting-edge AI tools and research labs. Other than that, Justin has interest in other than CEO rules. He is a vibrant dancer and artist, and she wants to add a colorful dimension to her professional parachutes. Our third speaker is Jianyu Wang, and he is an excellent plant biochemist who is fascinated by the metabolism of carotenoid-derived plant hormones, specifically strigolactones. He received his bachelor's and master's degree in pharmacy from China Medical University, Taiwan. Subsequently, he decided to pursue his PhD from under the supervision of Professor Salim at King Abdullah University of Science and Technology, Khost in Saudi Arabia. During his PhD training, he contributed to many novel research or finding of new signaling molecules, mainly related to the strigolactone metabolism. He also funded during his postdoc fellow continuing in Khost, he funded by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, and he working in that project to aim at identifying those strigolactones and determining the architecture of strigula susceptibility of pulse millets and other crops. He was awarded Sir Society of Experimental Botany Young Scientist Award in 2024, and he is going to be a incoming Assistant Research Fellow equal to Assistant Professor in Agriculture Biotechnology Research Center in Academia Senior. Congratulations, Eric, for that. Our last speaker is Dr. Somnath Kole. He is currently Senior Research Scientist at Donald Danforth Plant Science Center, where I'm working with him. His goal is to produce more resilient plant that can provide a sustainable solution and to societal and economical needs. Somnath's main interest lies in a carbon metabolism from capturing CO2 to generate a storage product across the multiple parts. In particular, he is focusing on efficient allocation of resources. He has excellent expertise in metabolomics, analytical techniques, and mainly isotopic trace analysis. Somnath received his PhD degree in pharmaceutical biology from Martin Luther University, Germany. During his PhD tenure, he was awarded for Erasmus Mundus Scholarship from Brave and the other Stephen Doctoral Fellowship and that finalization grant. So with all these, he also published lots of good journals in good journals, and we are going to hear them soon. Let's welcome our first speaker, Professor Prasad. And thank you so much for participating in this webinar. Looking forward to see you all.
So should I share my screen?
Yes.
My screen is visible?
Yes.
So greetings from New Delhi in India, all the Plantae Fellows, and I would like to thank Jason and all the Plantae Fellows and my co-speaker for this session. And I'm going to talk about my experience about how the mentor-mentee relationship can make change of mentee's future. So today I will share my personal experience. So in overview, PhD is a long, challenging, yet rewarding process. And it's not just about producing dissertation, but also about becoming a researcher, developing a wide range of skills, and preparing for a future career. So this is the first overview. I want to say that the PhD student must take care of this thing actually in mind. So this is my academic journey. I started my things at in Calcutta. All my education has been done in Calcutta. And over the year, you can see here, I have got all the awards and rewards, everything according to my age. When I became a professor, before that, I also got all these accolades. So what is the main goal for a PhD student? Because it's not a fixed daily structure, but PhD student must be focused like a short-term goal and long-term goal. In short-term goal, they can weekly task, monthly research milestone, and the long-term goal is the publication, conference presentation, and dissertation and completion. So having that, that make it SMART goals. SMART means that SMART is specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. So all these first later make some sense actually. So specific means they define what you want to achieve. Measurable means track your progress, how much progress you are doing. Achievable, ensure your goal that are realistic. And relevant means align the goals with your research and career aspirations. And time-bound means set the deadline. So all these 5 SMART goal is very important for a successful PhD career. So for my students' aspiration and why they are so much successful, because I put 100% independence to the experiment on their. I never say that do this. This is their experiment. They have to do by themselves. Then no stringent evaluation and performance except 1 monthly level. I give time to liberty to the student to make their comfort zone so that they can perform very well. Third is the special attention towards encouraging writing and speaking. These are the 2 things nobody can teach anybody. So these are all personal skill they have to learn by themselves. Exposure to editorial process like reviewing and reading. I also give my senior PhD and postdocs this reviewing job so that we can sit together and we can discuss and we can make a very good review. Freedom to attend any conference, symposium, and present their work. This is very important to know what is going on around the world about their area of research and how to present and how to ask questions. Liberty to apply any fellowship award is very important. Otherwise, you will not get anything. Student encouraged to visit other labs because you know that no lab is fulfilled to do all the experiments. So you need to get assistance from others. And at the same time, it's not a one-way traffic. You have to also assist the other labs if the help is sought. So coming to this mentor-mentee relationship is very important that that advisor is not only your supervisor, but you also your mentor and guide throughout the PhD process. And then the tips for effective communication is very important to make a good mentor-mentee relationship. Schedule a regular meeting, come prepared with updates and clarify the expectation early on. Don't be afraid of asking any feedback and constructive criticism. This is very important for the mentee point of view. And if there is any conflict, arise, addressing them professionally, and seek resolution early. What is the aspiration mentee should? They should have their curiosity and persuasion, strong desire to learn something new, love for the subject and passion, because all the subject I think is equally good. That mentee should love the subject, what they are wanted to do. Open mind and cross-border thinking. This is very important at the present context. Ability to ask question, even it is silly question, you should ask, so that by this time you can come out of the hindrance. Time management is another important aspect, balance between the personal and professional life, because PhD is a time-bound process. So you have to get most out of it by managing the time between personal and professional. So all the PhD students, they always wanted to keep in the comfort zone. But for academic success, they need to come over the comfort zone to the fear zone where they lack confidence, find excuses, be affected by others' opinion. And then coming to the learning zone, they deal with the challenges and problems, then acquire new skill, extend their comfort zone. And finally, the growth zone, there they find the purpose, pursue the dream, set the new goals, and conquer the objective. So here the mentor has to play a very important role to provide appropriate environment and platform to the mentees to reach the growth zone from the comfort zone. So what is the elements of this academic portfolio? So there is, because in our field, only publication, patent, and product is the thing. So we have to, the mentee should have to aim for high quality journal publication. They also try to present their work in the National International Conference. They also apply for the scholarship, fellowship, travel grant, and skills. That is very important during this kind of workshop and other courses. They should learn how to do statistics and software and trading, etc. And they have to keep updating their CV time to time for their achievement, experience, and publication. So as I said, that PhD is very important to get a good job. And if you have a good PhD with a decent, good number of quality publication, you can apply, and then you can get a chance to get a job with a decent CV. So this is the achievement of my student. I have just give you a glimpse that you can see Charu has characterized the DRAPE transcription factor in foxtail millet. Swati characterized the NAC transcription factor in foxtail millet. Muthu did all the genomic genetic resources for foxtail millet. And Namisha, Ashish, and Roshan, these two and Pranab also, they work in my other crop plant, the plant virus interaction in tomato. And so you see that whatever awards and rewards is there available in the Indian context and the international level also, Marie Curie, you can see here, they get everything. So these are their own actually achievement. And by this way, mentor has got the rewards. So in conclusion, I must say that the mentee should set a clear goal and manage the time very effectively, bring strong relationship with the advisor and network activity, develop your research, writing, and teaching skill while focusing on career development, prioritize your mental and physical health for balance and fulfilling the PhD journey. Final thoughts that the PhD is a unique opportunity to not only advance knowledge in your field, but also to grow as a scholar and a professional. Finally, make the most of every aspect of the journey with the support of mentor. So mentor-mentee relationship is the key factor for success of both mentor and mentee. So finally, myself and Ashish, while this COVID period was there, we thought that we can sit together and we can write about mentor-mentee, and you can go through these trends in genetics article under the science and society section, research and leaders, a twisted tale. And that's why I say always the success of the mentee is the success of the mentor, and this should be realized by all the mentor. And I am one of the classical example, since all the students have been successful, and at the end, my career was also flourishing. So leadership is service, not a position. So this I could tell every student that leadership is to facilitate the things so that the mentee should get comfortable and they get their job done by this stipulated time. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Prasad, and giving us, the mentor's perspective and giving us the first thing, like leadership is a service. Our next speaker, let's welcome Justin. And thank you so much for participating in this webinar, Justin.
Thank you for having me. Can you see my screen properly?
Yes.
Fantastic. So thanks as well. I'm very happy to go just after Professor Prasad. I feel like we got the mentee, now the mentor and mentee point of view. I mean, I'm more like a PhD student who changed from academia to industry, but in my own term. So I think, you know, the set of skills that we gain in PhD also helped me to make that move. And I just wanted to share that with everyone. So just to have a quick overview, you saw before, I have a bachelor degree in chemistry and physics, and then I have a master degree in biotech, did a PhD in plant science with Eric, that is also here today, in King Abdullah University of Science and Technology in Saudi Arabia. And then I built my own startup also in Saudi, and I'm the CEO with two other co-founders. And the name is Taya Technology. And so today I just wanted to share some of my, you know, experience and what I think would be very important to keep in mind while doing a PhD, as well as how I transitioned from PhD to the startup world. And as we all agree, I think we can say that PhD is a moment of growth and that we are really learning to become the expert of the research field that we are studying. And that's very something that is, I don't know, it took me a while to realize until I defended and I had all the answers that nobody else had, before, like besides my professor and my colleague. And so one thing that I also really liked during that period of time is that I developed a lot of transferable skills that I didn't fully realize on the moment, but as we already mentioned, some of the writing and editing skills, but also presentation skills that I think sometimes are not taken too seriously. So think about investing a little bit more time on those presentation and lab meetings, project management, and people, and sometimes even PI management as well. And finally, what I really wanted to put in light here is cultivating personal interest and really nurturing mental health. As it's a long journey, it's not a sprint, so you really need to make sure that everything is going well all along the way and that you have other things to fall onto, in just not your research, but also friends, family, and sports or hobbies. And I did a lot of cultivation for my personal interest. I did a lot of dancing. I danced Bhangra, did silks, hoop, drawing a lot, being involved in the, you know, side curriculum association. And it was a fantastic experience. And I really, really encourage you to do whatever you need to keep your mental healthy. And that's also helped me to really transition and keep my mind open to not only focusing on, you know, my research, being in my own world, but like interact with other people and I think outside the box and really cultivate creativity. And one of the things that came out of it was my startup. And I wanted also to share a little bit how I went through this process, because that's one of the outcomes that can come out of your PhD, not only continuing in your academic career. So I've been studying strigolactones that are like chemicals that are released in the soil by a plant like rice and other cereals, and that are sensed by parasitic seeds. And that parasitic seeds is called striga. And Eric also studied it, but that was like my main PhD topic. And one of my experiments was to count pictures that are like this, with a disc of striga seeds, applying chemical on the striga seeds, germinating the striga seeds, and then counting how many germinated and non-germinated seeds there will be for each experiment. I had hundreds of seeds per picture, hundreds of pictures per experiment, and we will do it by hand, with non-germinated on the top and germinated on the back, on the bottom. And that was a horrible, for me, experiment to run. A lot of time spent on weekend and nights, because during the day you are in the lab. And so I thought that I will use computer vision and machine learning to train a model. And we teach the model how to detect a non-germinated seed with a seed coat and a germinated seed with a radical. I had a friend who was very good at coding and doing computer vision, so we developed this together, made an automated system that will save 99% of my time, spending just now less than an hour to analyze an entire experiment instead of weeks of work. And the idea was like, for this model, we published it publicly, like we made a publication and it's available. It's called SeedQuant. And we had 93%, 93% yes, of accuracy of detection. But it was just, you know, one little plant in the world of science. And that software is not that easy to install. So we thought that it would be very nice to develop a technology to detect anything, and that can be accessible anywhere without having to install anything. And that's how we created Tayatech, which is an online platform that allows anyone to make their own detection model to count different things. And since then, we've really helped different type of scientists counting red blood cell, detecting trichomes, lesion sites, like we can also count like leaves, look at a lot of different morphological parameters and do that automatically for the researchers. And we won an accelerator program in Saudi Arabia that allowed us to launch the company. And so really what I wanted to share is like to keep an open mind, try to enjoy the journey of the PhD, and you never know what's going to come next. If it's not another academic career, you can be a PhD, it can be, a startup or anything else on the way. And if you need any contact or questions, I'm very happy to connect. I'm on LinkedIn and you can reach out to me anytime. And thanks for having me today. I'm very glad to have that chance to participate in this seminar. Thank you.
Thank you, Justin. It is a wonderful presentation, and we got to know about AI and your perspective of a startup and industry. Thank you so much for this. And our next speaker is Eric. Eric, it's up to you. Please share your slides.
I think you can see my slide, right?
Yes.
Okay. So it's my pleasure to be here to share my experience about how to make use of your PhD. But I have a subtitle enjoying doing research because I think I'm also somehow the traditional path for our PhD postdoc to get the independent research fellow. Briefly introduce me again. I studied my bachelor and master degree in pharmacy in Taiwan. And after my degree, I went to Saudi Arabia under the mentorship of Professor Al-Babli. I'm studying with some plant hormone we call fractones. And during this period, I have the chance to went to the Max Planck and also the University of Turin to learn some techniques. Professor mentioned we need to have some exchange. So during my PhD, I have these opportunities. And after my PhD, I stay with Professor Salim for the postdoc training. We are working on the Schweiger competing project. And this period I also went to the University of Amsterdam to collect some aspect of the pyramids. And luckily I got the assistant professorship in academic clinical. So I'm also looking for collaboration and recruiting some students for the future. So what's a PhD? Actually, in my point of view, PhD is not only a training or you want to get something out of it, but it's actually is from Wikipedia, you can say PhD means we level of wisdom. So we need to solve a problem you observe. So I think the most important thing what you observe in the literature when you're reading or you're thinking, and then you need to prove it by experimentally. And then what we want to do is to search for the truth. So doing a PhD is time consuming. And this period is important to train you to think independently and think theoretically. And when you do a research, you need to deploy yourself. When you decide to do this experiments or doing the research, you need to deploy yourself, I would say more than 80% of your time. And the most important is you should enjoy this process because most of the time of PhD is we deploy ourselves in the lab or writing papers. So you really need to enjoy what you are doing. And we know most of the case is failure. And most of the PhD period, we got more than 80% rejection also for the papers or for the funding. Less than 20% got success. So I know some sentences that success is not really final. Failure is not fatal, so it's the courage to continue the counts. So don't feel you are the only one who will get failure. Most of us, we get failure most of our time. in the PhD. However, we are human. So when you get failure, we need to get support. So in my point of view, we need to have the peer support. This is very important during your PhD. So I'm lucky I have so many good colleagues or good friends, such as Justine, she just presented her experience here, and also Erica and Lamis, and also my friends in Italy. The peer support is important because we need to get a very important mental health, because this is what we need nowadays. We have many stresses, things in the life. So to get your support from your friends is really important. And for sure, we need to also get advisory or professional support from your PI, such as my PI, Professor Albany, and also my, I will say, co-advisor, Professor Ikaram Belidu. They will guide us to decide you have A and B directions, whether you want to stay in academic or you want to live for industry. And also friends or colleagues in Italy, in Germany, and in Amsterdam. So the professors will always give you the answer or give you a guidance. So this is important. And also, we are academics, we always need their reference later. So you have to have the good relationship with your advisors or your collaborators. And also the networking is very important for young generation. We should get know the people from the conference or from the workshop or from your advisors. And my experience somehow is also very interesting. So I always get the network from my friends. As I mentioned, I went to I have the opportunity to went to Paris, and I managed, and also I went the Tana, and she was also organizer in the New Phyto Next Generation Scientist Conference. So when I applied this conference, she selected me for a speaker. And also today, the same managed introduced me as a speaker. So this is about the networks. So the network is important for you to build your scientific area. And you have to be very proactive. You need to let the people think you are a really proactive scientist, and your attitudes. Don't be negative. You should be always positive and confident, and to make sure you have very good credibilities. So the people will really to help you to understand what you need in your networking. And of course, as I subtitle say, you need to enjoy doing your research. So no matter your research outcome is big or small, we hope you will bring the changes for the field or for your certain perspectives. And I was lucky I involved in the Bill Gates Foundation project. So we are working to complete Striga, and I went to Kenya. So what I learned is that what I'm doing in the lab, I can come up with a product to help the farmers. So we have the chance to change the world. So you need to really enjoy what you are doing. And this also did for my decision to become an independent group leader. So all about yourself. When you want to stay in academics, the important thing is you need to prepare all these things when you apply jobs. Cover letter and your CV, update CV, and also your research experiments and teaching experiment. It depends on institutes. And also very important is the reference letter. So as I mentioned, you have to build a very good relationship with your advisors or your professional collaborators or from your friends if he is or the PI. And my experience, it was not that successful, I will say, because I applied more than 100 university research institutes around the world, and I got only 11 online interviews, so around 10%, and I got three on-site interviews, and then I get 2 offers. So I would say for young generation, it's very competitive, but devote yourself to your decisions. So, and I think for doctoral philosophy, it's not only there for wisdom. I think as a researcher, we should create a fair future. And we need to create also the respectful future for our colleagues. So this is also I want to share with my experience to to the audience is that when you become a higher postdoc, let's say postdoc or higher senior postdoc, we always need to think about how we to help the young generation, like your students or your young collaborators. So we do the work and we also create a successful future for them. So for their success, also your success. This I hope we can start create by ourselves a fair future. So I would like to thank all my friends, my collaborators, my advisors, and also the opportunity for me to talk in the Plantae's webinar to share my overview of how you get most of your PhD. Of course, if you have any questions, I'm welcome. You can write email to me or you can reach out for me at any time. Of course, if you would like to know about course or want to join the level of my Professor Sanopati, also very welcome to contact him. Thank you.
Thank you, Eric, for giving us wonderful prospect on PhD students. And what I take away from your presentation is 80% failures, 20% success. And our next speaker is Dr. Somnath Kole, and he already shared his slides. Welcome, Dr. Kole.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
I would like to thank all the moderators and all the members of the organizing committee first for putting together this important webinar. And what nice 3 talks from my fellow speakers. Let me start by sharing a little bit about myself and my academic journey. I am originally from West Bengal, which is located at the eastern side of India. I completed my education up to my master's degree in India. I then pursued my PhD at Martin Luther University in Germany, which you can see in the middle of this map. And in 2019, I moved to US and joined Donald Danforth Plant Science Center as a postdoc. Now I am currently working as a senior research scientist there. Now, for the first 3 years of my PhD in Germany, I was fortunate to receive an Erasmus scholarship. And in the last 2 years, I received additional funding from DAD and Fajit Stiftung. And if any of you are international students and interested in pursuing a PhD in Germany, this could be some funding options to consider. Now, on this slide in the top left, you will see a photo of my friends from India who received the same Erasmus scholarship and attended the same program and university as I did. Now, I like to say that during my academic journey, I have had the privilege of working with 2 outstanding mentors. Beyond my PhD supervisor and then Doug, my postdoc supervisor. Both are not only brilliant plant scientists, but also genuinely kind and supportive individuals. And I think that is needed if you are a PhD student. Now, coming back to today's webinar topic, I think this topic is extremely timely and important because every year many PhD students leave their program because they are not fully aware of what to expect or how to navigate the challenges during their PhD program. And Manoj, Justin, and Eric have already provided excellent insights into various aspects of PhD process. And I would like to build on that by sharing a few additional key points and explain them in more details from my own experience. So first, in my opinion, the biggest difference between undergrad or master level study and then a PhD is the shift from simply knowing to truly understanding. For example, in undergrad, you are learning a fact, and that's knowing. But in PhD, you need to learn why this fact is a fact, and that's the understanding. And because you can only innovate when you truly understand the underlying mechanism. So for example, when you read a scientific paper, it's not just enough to go through it passively, not enough just to know the findings. You need to actively think about different questions like why is the key research question, or what is the key research question? Why is this question important to the field? Then what methods were used? Why are these methods are appropriate to answer these biological questions? Then coming to the results section, you need to think about are this result and final outcome convincing or well supported by the data? And how does this study fit into the broader research area? So this kind of critical reading is essential in a PhD. You are not just learning facts, you are learning how to ask the right question and how to explore them through various approaches, various experiments. Now, let me share something that nearly all PhD students experience. At some point, you will feel stuck. And this is completely normal. Instead of getting frustrated, take a step back. Give yourself a break and return with a fresh perspective. For example, during the first year of my PhD, I struggled to make progress. My goal was to efficiently incorporate 13C isotope into volatile terpene biosynthetic pathways for longer time periods, but all my initial efforts were unsuccessful. And since these terpenes, these volatile terpenes are biosynthesized inside trichome cells, I focused only on developing trichome cell cultures. And I remember after a year of no such progress, I went on an Easter vacation in 2016 with a very sad face. I was discouraged. I was wondering if I could even complete my PhD. But during that break, I realized that I needed to think independently. The idea of establishing this trichome culture was not even mine. It had been suggested when the project started. Then upon returning from the vacation, I took a full day to clear my mind first. And then the next morning, I had a moment of realization that the project goal was not just to develop a trichome culture system, but to create any system where the 13C substrate could reach the terpene pathways. So I shifted my approach. I developed a shoot culture system instead of trichome cell culture system. And within just a month after that Easter vacation, I had success. And I'm truly speaking, my entire PhD work was then built on that shoot culture system. So what I want to say here, or the key takeaway here, is to always keep the bigger question inside. When you are stuck, take a break, clear your mind, and try to brainstorm new ideas. Think in different way. Maybe you are missing a critical step in your experiment, or maybe you need to change that critical step for your model system. And then if your results do not align with your hypothesis, ask why. What could this so-called negative result reveal? Can you validate your unexpected result with an independent experiment? And from my experience, I can tell you that unexpected or seemingly undesirable outcomes often lead to breakthroughs. So do not discard your so-called negative result before understanding why they turned out that way. So this kind of critical thinking or independent thinking at every stage of PhD and also throughout your scientific career is absolutely necessary. Now, to wrap up for today, I will leave you with a few quick tips. A PhD is not just about reading papers, conducting experiments, and writing a thesis. It is also about develop effective system, create a system to manage your learning. I'm going to give you 3 examples here. First, keep a well-organized notebook. Write down everything I mean, your experiments, ideas, plans, research notes, discussion with your supervisor, essentially anything relevant to your work. And a good notebook will keep you on track throughout your PhD journey. Now, the second, I would like to say that make sure that your raw data is properly organized. Never ever modify the original data. If you need to make change, make a copy. Mark it as a modified version. Then to label your data file, use dates and keywords and specifically all other distinguishable points about that specific experiments so that later you can find your data easily. And third, when saving previous literatures, label them with the year of publication, the first or last author name, and then few keywords to remind you why this article is important to you, not anyone else. You need to say some keywords why this article is important to you. So these are just few examples from my own experience, but you need to develop a system that works best for you. Other than all these points I mentioned today, remember a PhD is like a marathon, a long journey, and progress would be slow and incremental. So be happy and celebrate any tiny achievements. Even it is just coming up with a new idea or finishing reading an important literature. And then in this long journey, it is also easy to feel isolated. So stay connected with your friends, do other activities, stay connected with your family. And one last thing I like you to remember also that while a PhD might be the pinnacle of your academic journey, it is just the beginning of your scientific career. The skills and the knowledge you gain will shape your future. Whether you want to be in academia, whether you want to be in industry, it will always help you. So try to enjoy this journey. And that's all from me. I know an hour-long webinar is not enough to cover everything, but I hope experiences and presentations from all four of us will offer some useful insights which can help you if you are doing a PhD or planning to do PhD. And I wish all the PhD students the very best in your journey ahead. And we are looking forward to any questions you have. Thanks.
Thank you, Somnath, for giving us a prospect. Like we, as a researcher, we always stuck, and there's a need for a fresh perspective, critical thinking, and and we can always restart the things. Now we will go for I will share the slide, and we will go for our Q&A session. And Tuli will take care further. Is there? Okay.
Unmute yourself, Julie. Unmute yourself.
Okay.
Hello all. I want to thank to our wonderful speakers for their valuable insight. Now we would like to open this platform to the audience for any questions. So you feel free to ask any question related to today's discussion on getting the most out of your PhD. Whether you are curious about your about the balancing the research and life and skill development or any other challenges. So just type your question in the chat and we will get to as many as we can. So we have the first question to Dr. Manoj Prasad. So how should one maintain communication with supervisor if the mentor is too busy? What should be considered as deal breaker?
So the mentee should continuously actually pursue it because mentor might have been busy with some other activity, but it should not be like a 365 days actually. So mentee should make an effort to take a time from the mentor by sending electronic message or email, and the mentee can also propose that these are my problems I want to discuss. And by this way, the healthy environment, good communication, I think will still the problem can be solved.
Okay, thank you, sir, for the answer. So here we have another question, which is like, does independence in a PhD mean that we should expect nothing from supervisor? isn't it will create an unsupportive and uncaring environment as only excellent will thrive. So doing research is one aspect of PhD, but having a good environment is also important. So what are your thoughts? So any of the speakers or want to answer this question?
Eric, I think you have answered this question. I have seen. Eric.
Yeah, I answer. I mean, I think the independence is not about your peer will not do anything, but the independence is you have to decide for your projects and also take the responsibility for your work. But you have to discuss with your peer always. So it doesn't mean your peer will not help you. So the environment issue for young scientist of view is you have to take responsibility for your PhD. I will say like this.
I may
So-
like to add a few more sentences to Eric. Your PI will be busy. Your PI will have a lot of things, but your PI will definitely help you. But also the point of the PhD is also you need to be an independent researcher. That's what your goal it should be as well, because you want to continue this journey in industry or academics, whatever you want to do in future. So for your benefit as well, you try to think independently and then come to your PI with your independent thoughts, and then definitely they will help you, I believe.
Okay, thank you for your answer. So here we have the another question is how to proceed with the proposed hypothesis when PI starts to doubt the success in expected result and starts being skeptical about it.
So here mentee should be very methodical actually. So he or she should prepare the report like this, that if there is a negative result, why it is negative, there should be the technically should be clear and properly documented. So no PI is going to expect if the notebook is properly maintained and the result is whether it is positive or negative, it doesn't matter actually. As Eric said, that is 80% failure, 20% success. This is true actually.
So we have one question to Justin, like how AI can be beneficial for plant science. Please, can you answer this?
Sure. I mean, it can be beneficial for like many applications. I mean, one of the reason why I moved from academia to a startup is really because I saw so many fellow scientists spending so much time on data analysis and looking at pictures and counting, very small patterns that are very repetitive experiment and just spending hours, days, weekend, while they have better things to do with their time. So what we really try to do is to simplify, and our AI can learn from experts like all of you. So you can really tailor your AI model to your own scientific problem to solve just through image analysis and automation. So the goal was really like to free all the time. And I mean, we have one colleague with Eric that I just like freed all his weekend and evening because he was just spending all of his time counting seeds. So yeah, I feel like that's how I would say it could help.
Here we have another question to Dr. Manoj Prasad. So what is your view of an early career assistant professor for supporting students in the lab?
So as I mentioned in my talk also, that that early career researcher, there are several programs from the government also that they can apply for that grant, a small grant. In India, I know that I am the chairman of that committee, Life Science Committee of the Startup Research Grant, and I try to help each and every potential young entrepreneur, those who have a proven track record. So whether they are in a private or a public, I don't care on it. But if their track record is good, I try to help. And even my colleagues are also trying to help, because the money is always limited everywhere, whether it is India or India abroad. So we try to justify by giving the money to a proper person, a young scientist who has a proven track record. And this is the only way one can ask for money. If the track record is good, you will get me funded actually.
Dr. Somnath, can you tell about us that what was about your transition from Germany to USA for your postdoc? Yeah. Or
Sorry,
also,
I did not.
can you just suggest some institute for PhD in Germany for microbiology and your transition, like journey from Germany to USA for your postdoc? Can you share your journey? And or
Yeah,
that's
yeah. I was
what you
international student even in Germany, so it was not that difficult because I have that set up in my mind. I was in Germany for 5 years. So for me, it was not that difficult, but the culture-wise, yes, Germany has defined work culture and then US has defined work culture, and you need to adopt that. You need to adopt, it will take few months to adopt what is expecting from you. About the other question, I cannot answer the good institute for microbiology because I am a plant scientist. I did my research always in plant, but I believe there would be a lot of different institute. Look at whether Max Planck has some microbiology option or not. I believe, yeah.
So here we have a question for Eric. So, like how you do in like work-life balance to get good outcomes in life? Like how you manage your work-life balance?
Life balance, I think the good answer will from Justin, not from me. So for me, as a young generation for scientists, I would say most of your time will be in the lab or writing papers if you want to get a job in scientific field. But for sure, my own ways I have, because in Saudi Arabia the weekend is Friday and Saturday, so all the Friday morning I didn't work. I just do some videos or watch some books or listen to music. I don't do anything. This is my way to what I call work-life balance. But Justin, you can comment more.
No, I mean we've been having it was very funny. Eric always say like I've been enjoying life and not working, which is also not true. I did a lot of work and is continuing my research, so I laid some good foundation there. But yeah, I mean I think it's at the end of the day, you know, whatever you do that you decide to rest for the weekend or engage in some activities, it's up to you. I think everyone has a different way of relaxing, but I think it's very important to disconnect in some ways and realize that, as you know, everybody has been saying, your PhD is not your whole life, it's just part of a journey. And don't beat yourself too hard and try to find some joy outside of the lab if your experiment doesn't work, because you're gonna face failure every day, and if you have nothing else to bring you up, this is gonna be a very tough time. So that's mostly why. And then it can be friends, you know, we were meeting with Eric every evening for weeks or months to discuss just like the trouble of PhD or like doing activities outside, go for a walk. Like everyone has his own way. But yeah, I would say more on that direction.
So we have the last question for today. Why PhD research outcome is more towards publication instead of quality research? Does everybody is going to judge by the H index or like the total citation? So anyone please
So I can
answer
answer
this
this
question.
question.
Okay.
So everybody knows in their own field which are the good society journals. Nobody is going to see what impact you are publishing, what is your H index. Everybody asks your best 5 publication, and from that people can get in to know what kind of work you have done. So making publication a good society journal is the key factor for success, not in impact factor or H index.
Can I just add more addition? Because I think nowadays the citation or H index is not really important. The importance is what you do continuous from your PhD and postdoc. You need to let the community know if you are a plant hormone researcher or you are a researcher in some field. You have to be continuously to work on it to build your CV, a strong CV like this way.
I like to add just only one sentence. If you have a quality research, you will get the citation. So think about that way.
Okay, I think due to time constraint, we all have to stop here, and it was a wonderful webinar. I want to thank you all the speakers and all the participants. It's lots of learning, even for the early careers, PhD students and postdocs. Thank you so much. And Jason, it's over to you.
Yes, yeah. Again, thank you, and echoing what Manish had shared. So I want to thank all of our attendees for joining today, and a big special thank you to all our speaker for really sharing some insight and wonderful advice into everyone's kind of in their PhD journey. Hopefully, our audience have gotten a lot of great tips and are able to learn from all our speakers today. Again, this webinar is recorded, and you can watch it later on. And if you have friends that are kind of going through the PhD journey, we invite you to share this resource, right? And so with that, again, thank you to everyone, and we hope to see you in the next Plantae webinar. With that said, I hope you all have a wonderful weekend and get some rest, hopefully. Bye, everyone.
Bye,
Bye.
everyone. Thank you.
Bye.
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 Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.